Yes.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ken Smith, and he will be talking about something, let's get personal, and storytelling is a manual. This is to learn the elements of a good story, but also to create and tell an original story based on a personal experience.
You didn't bring my introduction?
Of course I did.
Okay.
I'll do a couple things right. Speech is 6 to 8 minutes. Try to do something outside of societal norms and habits challenges. Our next speaker, Ken Smith, will tell us about one such incident in his own life, the events leading up to his daughter's birth at home. Please help me welcome Ken Smith with his speech entitled, Homeborn Ken Smith.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, flag of the United States, and most welcome guests. Who's going to burn it?
Impression of guests.
It didn't quite hit the ground, but Stan stopped it. Another expense saved for the club. December 1st, 1984, 7:30 a.m. My daughter was born at home. But there was a string of events that got us to that point, and this is the story about that. My wife at the time was a nurse who had a career goal of being a midwife. So we wanted a home birth, and we wanted one on videotape to help her in her future promote a very specific kind of home birth. It's called a water birth. But let's back up just a little bit. The system in California, at least at that time, and I'm pretty sure it's the same today, was that births are to happen in hospitals. Almost a period at the end. There's a comma, there's a subtext. If you are in a rural community where there is no hospital, you may have a midwife deliver the baby. But if you're in an urban setting, you are expected to have the baby in the hospital. And we lived in an urban setting. We were in Citrus Heights, California, Sacramento area at the time. So in order for her to actually get a midwife degree, we would have to move, basically, or at least commute to Grass Valley or some other place that didn't have a hospital nearby, so that she could practice midwifery legally for a couple of years under doctor's supervision and then get her license to do that. Now, lay midwifery is big business in California, but it's all under the table business because people are getting paid to deliver birth, and that is a no-no with the American Medical Association and the California Medical Association as well. So in order to be able to do it legally, you have to go through that process. But because there are plenty of midwives around, we decided we were going to have a home birth anyway in Citrus Heights, and we were going to hire a lay midwife. And we did. But we wanted to figure out what kind of birth was best. We saw a whole bunch of different methods of home birth, and the one that really captured our heart was water birth. This is where the baby is actually born in water. Saline water, the same consistency of saline as the sea and the blood and the amniotic fluid. What it's been living in for 9 months already. 98.6 degrees temperature or thereabouts. The way children come into the world right now is the mother is up in stirrups, pushing uphill basically, instead of with gravity, trying to force the baby out, and if it doesn't come easily, then there's a pair of steel tongs that can grab it by the head and gently ease it out, hopefully. The baby has been in a curled position for at least a month of its full term. And as soon as it comes out, what the doctor does is tie off the cord, cut it, yank it upside down by its feet, and slap it on the rear. Well, yanking the spine like that straight for the first time in several months. You know how you feel when you get out of bed in the morning and straighten your spine out. That's only one night. How about a month's worth of having that spine curled and then yank straight and then slapped on the back? What kind of way is this to come into the world? So your very, very first impression of the world is a lot of pain and the glaring lights of the hospital. Well, we didn't want all that for our daughter. So I converted our 3-car garage, the 1-car portion of it, into a separate room, carpeted it, put a rheostat on the light so we could dim the light, and put a hot tub in there, built on a frame that had a bed built on the side of it up to the level of the edge of the hot tub. And I practiced. I'd hook up the hose to the hot water spout of the washing machine, which was just on the other side of the wall, and fill it up. It'd run out of the hot water and continue filling with cold water until it got to the right temperature and add the salt and it'd be ready. And I knew I could do it within about a half-hour period of time. I'd have that tub full when it was ready. We didn't have a heater on that. That was too much for a temporary location. We weren't going to leave that tub in permanently. So time goes on. Kimberly decided not to come out at 9 months. We were having her monitored at the hospital so that we knew everything would be okay, because this is my first delivery. And I didn't want to have to deal with cord around the neck or breech or anything like that. But Kimberly was in position, and once you're in position and full term, you're not moving. The cord isn't getting around your neck or anything. You know, it's going to be a safe birth at that point. So we knew everything was fine, and we were ready to go. And then the doctor said, "I'm getting impatient with this." I don't know if he was going to miss a vacation golf game or whatever. He said, "Monday morning, I am going to induce labor. You're going to come down here and I'll induce labor." So we decided, we'll induce labor now. This was on a Friday. We had an appointment in the evening. When we got back from it, it was about 10 o'clock. Patricia drank a bottle of castor oil. Now this does induce labor. It does this by inducing diarrhea, which causes cramping, and which stimulates the uterine muscles and starts the contraction. It didn't work really quickly, however. I called the midwife, told her what was going on. She wanted to know how far apart the contractions were, and I kept monitoring them, and when she said to call me back when they're about 10 minutes apart, and I did. And when they were 10 minutes apart, she said, "Okay, you still got plenty of time. I'll be there in a couple hours." It did not take a couple hours. Patricia went to relieve her diarrhea one more time, and it wasn't diarrhea this time. It was a baby wanting to come out. So we rushed into the birthing room. I started filling the tub, running the hot water in it. Kimberly was impatient. She wanted to come out. The water was too hot, so I ran to the refrigerator and got ice cubes and came back, dumped it in the tub, tried to cool it down so that we could have that birth in there. But Kimberly was coming too quickly, and her stead started to present, so we just put Patricia on the mattress instead and gave birth to Kimberly. We left the cord attached properly until it stopped pulsing. That way, Kimberly was still getting all the oxygen she needed. Then I tied off and cut it, put her to her mother's breast. Took her into the water after that so that she'd be familiar. She swims like a fish today. Madam Toastmaster.
We've got a serious morning this morning. A little bit disruptive, but again, I want to thank those people